Hello YouTube, it's Antoine, or as some of you may know me as Django from TikTok, and I'm here with an analysis of the Premier League's first game week of the 2022 to 2023 season. I did predictions and reviews of all the games on my TikTok. They're all there to check out now, although I will be editing them in so you can just see what my opinions are on the games that I watched. But for the ones that I didn't get to see, you will know what I think about them from this video. So to start off, I'll start with the most recent game that I didn't get to watch, which was the Brentford versus Leicester one. It was on at the same time as Man U, the team I support, and I obviously wasn't going to pick them over Man U. But I didn't get to do a prediction on this one, and I honestly expected Leicester to win. They did get a bit of an injury crisis. I think it was on Friday, but I still, regardless, expected them to win this. And they were actually 2-0 up until Tony and one other Brentford player came back and made it 2-2. A disappointing result for Leicester, but they still got a point, whereas Man United got 0. So good for them, I guess. Good for them. Second game I didn't get to watch was a 3 o'clock game, Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth, newly promoted to the Prem. They've been in the Prem before, but they've never really done great. And Aston Villa are usually mid-table in the Premier League. They beat Liverpool 7-2 like 2 years ago now, I think. So, and they've made some transfers, so I was expecting them to win this. I'm pretty sure I wanted them to win it like 2-0 or something like that, but they got beat 2-0 by newly promoted Bournemouth. Honestly, a shocker. They made so many new signings, played some really good football, drew to Man U in pre-season, but they just weren't good enough. And I didn't even see the match, so I can't really comment on how they played, but it was just embarrassing to get notifications that they're losing 2-0. It's very bad. Versus Wolves. I honestly thought Wolves were going to win this. They, in my opinion, have the much better team. Leeds also sold their two best players, Rafinha and Calvin Phillips, in the window. And I was just really shocked. Again, much like the Villa game, Wolves have a better squad. They haven't exactly made a lot of transfers, but they've got two better midfielders, a better front three, and, in my opinion, a better back line. But again, on the day, Leeds were clearly better. They won it 2-1, and there's not much to say, really. Just because I didn't get to watch the game, I can't tell you who played better, apart from maybe stats, but I don't like to use stats when I talk about football. And yeah, just really disappointing for Wolves, I guess. Another game I didn't get to watch, but I was 100% certain on who would win it. Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have just come up from the Championship. They only got through due to the playoffs, which they won. Congratulations to them and all their fans. Honestly, 2-0 Newcastle. I was expecting this. Newcastle's big financial takeover has provided for them so well from last season in January, where they made all their new signings and went from 20th to 15th to 12th. So yeah, big up Newcastle. And yeah, it was a cut and dry result for me. I knew that they would play well, and I knew that they would win it over Nottingham Forest. A game I actually got to watch but didn't do a prediction on was Tottenham versus Southampton. There was no football on that I did a prediction on, so I just turned on the game, and Tottenham were winning. I think it was about 1-0 by this point, and then it just got worse and worse for Southampton. I honestly was shocked. James Ward-Prowse, he really should have left ages ago, really. In my opinion, he's too good for that team, but loyalty over legacy for him, I guess. And yeah, Tottenham just embarrassed them all over, and they even had an own goal to top it off. Son and Kane did ghost, but besides that, Tottenham just were fantastic. Kulusevski was definitely the best player. We all know that, I would hope, but he was fantastic on the day. Yeah, well done. And that is it for the games that I didn't get to watch, but I'm now giving a review for based on the score lines. Honestly, I feel like a few of them might have been interesting. Obviously, it's always interesting to see newly promoted teams in the Prem. But for that, I had to watch Fulham versus Liverpool. And I did expect Liverpool to win. But my prediction and review on that will be in the City versus West Ham review. Honestly, West Ham put up a good fight, but City were just back to their best today. Haaland with 2 goals, one being a penalty, the other one an actual good finish. Honestly, they were just unbeatable today, and they played very well, had more passes than West Ham, more of the ball, which means more chances, and they converted more of them than West Ham. I feel like from here on out, Haaland is going to be a beast for City, especially with their upcoming fixtures, which shouldn't be a hard matches for them. So honestly, I do think City are going to dominate for a little while. United versus Brighton review. It's At this point, our pre-season didn't mean anything. It didn't matter because we've come back into the league and we've just done the same thing as last season. Poor defending, not marking the back post, and we're just spreading ourselves out too much. And I don't know what to say. Fair play to Brighton on their win. I can't even say that we deserved to win it because we didn't. We had a few chances, but our only goal was even an own goal, so we really didn't play well at all. Hopefully things can shape up for next week, but I wouldn't give it too much hope. I feel like we're just going through another cycle of being bad. Versus Everton, review. In my opinion, a very boring game. I wasn't very impressed with anything. Chelsea won through a penalty after having many chances, and Everton were 2 injuries down with their players, so it wasn't a very satisfying win for Chelsea, in my opinion. I also don't like the way Chelsea handle their young players. Apart from Mount and Reece James, no one's really done it for Chelsea at such a young age recently, and more young players continue to sign for them, and I just don't get it. But I think it was a pretty poor match. I wasn't very interested like I've been with the rest of the games today, and overall, just not very pleased really. Versus Crystal Palace, review. The match ended 2-0 to Arsenal, and aside from the second half mostly, I'd say it was a pretty dominant game from them. They got their first goal pretty early on with a Martinelli header from a corner, and honestly I just felt like they were the better team out there 100%. Crystal Palace did play pretty well though, not to put them down, especially in the late second half, like maybe 60th to 90th minute, they were putting it on Arsenal to try and get an equaliser. And I was really impressed with Saliba. Although I haven't seen much of him from Arsenal because he's been on a lot of loans, I do think he deserves to start this season, and Ben White actually played pretty well in right back. He pocketed Zaha, so I think that could be a good system for them. And now, after all these reviews, once we look at the league table, we can see that Tottenham is at the top on a 3-goal difference, or a 1-goal difference between them and Arsenal lead. Arsenal is second with 2-goal difference, along with Bournemouth, City and Newcastle, so the top from 2 to 5 drawing. And then we have Brighton to Chelsea, who will have 1 win with 1-goal difference, 3 points. Brentford, who have 1 point and no goal difference. That goes from 9th to 12th, 12th being Liverpool. And Manchester United, with no points, -1 goal difference. They are 13th, Wolves 14th, Everton 15th. And then 16th to 19th is Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest and West Ham. And dead last is Southampton. Honestly, I've already done my prediction on who I think is going to win the league. It's probably changed already, or by next week it will probably have changed a lot, depending on who wins and who loses, or draws even. But Man U need to flip their season quick, so let's just hope they can.